It's been a season of reckoning from downfalls of major brands from Nike to Starbucks to Youthforia to Mr. Beast. All of the business problems that led to the downfall of these brands are human problems. In this video, we are going to be talking through the cautionary horror tales of these downfalls of these major brands. You can learn from their mistakes and not kill your brand in the process. And we're going to see if these downfalls actually mean the end of these brands and they end up in the business graveyard. Hello, happy human. If you haven't met me, my name is Lauren, pronounced like Lauren with an R, and I'm your social media grandma who's been doing social media marketing before some of you were even born to be on this app. And we go through some of the marketing's biggest wins and fails so that you can understand the human decisions led up to these moments. And if you like more of these cautionary tales, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and comment down below if you want more cautionary tales like this. Our first cautionary tale is relevant to the constant battle that every marketer has to face: data versus creativity. When you choose data over creativity, you could end up losing one of the most iconic brands that exist on the market. Nike is one of the most studied brands, and it's all down to their amazing branding and footprint in pop culture that they have created, from the "Just Do It" tagline all the way to the famous Michael Jordan Nike collection. But what happens when you have a new CEO whose main focus is data? You take away the soul of the company and lose the plot of who Nike is, which results in losing $28 billion and that same CEO stepping down. Now, the bottom line is in business is that you need both data and creativity to work in tandem. Creativity is the expression of the relationship that we are building with our audience, and data reinforces to make sure that we have properly communicated. But you need the creativity in order to build what you actually want that makes brands so resilient. A fandom that will ride or die with the brand, which is what Nike has been known for up until this point. Until CEO John Donahoe came in and sadly made Nike uncool by, in his vision of emphasizing purely on data and not understanding why Nike was so powerful, which was wearing Nike made someone feel versus just serving a purpose or function. By focusing purely on how can I make more money versus how can I innovate to build and continue to grow my fandom. Specifically in the format of them wanting to build out a bigger direct to consumer channel so they don't have to rely on the middleman, which is completely fine when it comes to like Amazon or Foot Locker. But you still got to make up for lost traffic, which takes more marketing. But instead of doubling down on creating that fandom and creating more marketing that drives more traffic to their direct website, they instead cut their creative and marketing department. And worst of all, they went generic. They decided, instead of focusing on categories that is around lifestyle, like running, football, basketball, fitness, in favor of pure generic demographics like men, women, and kids. We went from serving more core communities who are proud to wear Nike to everyone and their mother. And that is the worst thing that you can do in marketing, is serving everyone. On top of going generic in their categories, they decided to go even more generic when it came to their digital ads by focusing purely on conversions and doing the same thing that everybody else, which in reality is not how Nike grew themselves, because they were known for their creative ads, like the iconic Failure ad in 1997, Find Your Greatness in 2012, that purely reflects on the human experience. Again, why wearing Nike makes you feel. And what they did instead is basically flood their social media channels with boring, basic corporate content that ends up making them come across as annoying and eroding the trust that they actually originally built with their audience. And on top of all of that, you have consumer behavior shifting to where they're actually starting to wonder where their products are coming from. And you have pieces that are questioning where Nike is making their stuff that is adding extra bad PR. If you cut the middleman out, that leaves you no longer front and center when there's typical foot traffic, and failing to do innovative marketing that resparks the fandom, you're end up gonna become uncool and irrelevant. And that leads to the loss of $28 billion and also the CEO stepping down. Now there's hope to redirect this giant ship back to reconnecting to why Nike was Nike with the new CEO, Elliott Hill, who started from the bottom time in Nike and rose up to be the CEO. And we're already starting to see a couple of potential hopeful things. Going back to working with tastemakers again, like Rachel Motley paints the town, and in this case, painting the Nike red. Again, rebuilding that fandom that has been the core of Nike. So we shall see how it all pans out. Do you think they'll find their soul again? Comment down below. Sometimes you accidentally just completely lose who you are, like Starbucks. Is Starbucks going through an identity crisis? Starbucks has been in the news all year long for a variety of bad reasons. From the unionization and baristas going on strike, all the way to the political boycotting issues around the Gaza Strip. And while both of these cases does hurt the bottom line, the real kicker that actually hurts the bottom line for Starbucks is that they lost the plot of who they are, because they've been rebranded from a chill third space that people can gather and build community over some good coffee to just pure convenience coffee, where they're turning more into a fast food area competing against Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's. And as they realize that they're more of the convenient drive-through place that people go through, we're also starting to see them try new catchy ideas, which falls more into that McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, fast food, convenience style marketing, from bubble tea to deals, which is creating a bigger confusion for their core audience of, is this a coffee shop that has good coffee, or is it just another drink shop known for sugary drinks? And if it is the latter, then they are now dealing with a pricing crisis, because their drinks are way more expensive to match more of the traditional coffee shop price points versus a convenient Dunkin' Donuts or Dutch Brothers. Do you think Starbucks will figure out who they are and what their new value proposition is, or will they continue down this identity crisis? Comment down below. Younger brands are scaling, and the biggest lesson to ever learn with scaling is that the CEO needs to learn to let it go and delegate, or you turn into situations like Youthforia. I have covered the Youthforia Black Foundation since the beginning, and we have a final wrap up of this. In case you missed it, Youthforia has been under fire since earlier this year when they launched the quote unquote darkest foundation on market, which is just purely black foundation. No human skin is pure black, and since this debacle, it has left this brand in a chokehold. I'll link my previous videos down below so you can see from start to finish on how they actually chokeholded their business because the CEO failed to let go. Youthforia is a cautionary tale that if you do not learn to let go as a business owner and trust your team to help you in a form of crisis, you could kill your brand, and it can end up in the business graveyard. It is very natural in times of crisis as an instinct for us as human beings, even as CEOs, to feel like we can't let go. We have to lock down. We have to do it on our own to fix the problem. But it's also more than ever that it makes sense to delegate and have the team behind you to fix the crisis together. Otherwise, you get this situation in the final wrap up. After 6 months, we finally have a response from the owner of Youthforia, which I had suggested since the very first video to rectify this issue because they had built a human connection through the founder, versus one of the worst PR apologies that I've ever seen written by a brand while they're under the eye of the world. In this video response, they did finally come back with a transparent, genuine response from the owner, and you can tell from her body language that she is being as genuine as possible of what it means. And I will give it to her that it is one of the most genuine apologies I've ever seen a founder make, and it is a very brave and courageous move. But the comment section was not ready to be kind, depending on what platform you're on between her TikTok and her Instagram. I say it's more like a 50-50 acceptance of her apology on Instagram and very ruthless on TikTok, because some people really resonated with the genuine body language that this owner was showing and is like, and because of that human connection was willing to be kind, while others were still not ready to accept this apology because of their actions around the apology. The Youthforia has continually posted constantly on social media without acknowledging anything beyond that really bad PR post. So it created a question in people's minds, is that if she came back with this apology because they weren't profitable and they're losing money and they're about to die. But the reason why all these communication points rolled out in this very haphazard way is it was a human problem, specifically her problem in unable to let go of control. Yes, she was in her postpartum healing journey when everything exploded. And yes, she should be allowed to have silence to heal. But before she went into her healing journey, she should have handed off the baton to her team. And because she didn't let go of her control, her team was just told to keep going on, it created a lot of doubt. If she was able to pass the baton down to her team, she didn't need to be on video in the first apology. They could have just crafted a better apology and then kept people updated instead of keeping posting for the sake of posting like it's all sunshine and daisies. If and when she decided to do this genuine apology coming up, it would have been much better received. So this becomes a cautionary tale for all young companies of learning how to let go, because to scale means to let go and let others support you in this business. Otherwise, you may end up like Youthforia over here, where it is such a deep hole to climb out of that we don't know if they're going to recover. Now, if you have made it to the end of this video and this final cautionary tale, we have the biggest one, which is the downfall of Mr. Beast. Honestly, Mr. Beast probably deserves his own dedicated video because it is a very big cautionary tale of growing so big and so quickly, but then not being structurally sound in the foundations of your business. And there's so many instances where it's so unstructurally sound that he has basically built a house of cards, not counting his gambling allegations. But we're going to be covering the highlights today of the downfall of the Mr. Beast business brand, and it is way more than just one of the stars, Chris Tyson, on his channel that was the problem. If you want a full deep dive of that problem, I will link down the Swoop documentary below. I love her whole entire deep perspective of that whole entire situation, but it's a lot more than that from a business perspective, including the lawsuit against Mr. Beast and Amazon for unsafe working conditions during their filming of the biggest reality TV show that apparently has broken so many Guinness World Records, that took over $100 million to produce as the largest gains. But the amount of OSHA violations had specific people saying that he should be blacklisted from the industry, because you had examples of porta potties overflowing because it's not allegedly empty when you have thousands of people that were there, to lost medication and inability to access food for a lot of these contestants that was actually life-threatening, and so much more. And it wasn't just around the show that he's in trouble in terms of his business. His production company that produces all of these different channels and videos is now under fire for being known as a toxic working environment, especially for previous employees like Matt Turner, who has said he has been consistently berated, and just go environment created so much stress. And Mr. Beast's response to this allegation is a classic example of the startup mentality that needs to also be adjusted as you scale from a startup to a full-size business, full of a startup who still thinks like a startup but is actually now a full functioning business. And it is no longer okay, and probably honestly was never okay, with using that startup thinking as a way to cut corners in how human beings are being treated. And these two first allegations is already putting a bad taste in a lot of viewers' mouths, but there has been more recent allegations that have come out that is actually now potentially shifting the way someone views the Mr. Beast brand, specifically in deceptive philanthropy. Mr. Beast was always known for big stunts, but some of it might not be as big as he claimed. There's been alleged claims stating that the footage of his efforts to do these philanthropy situations has been physically altered for the views. For example, the Nepal hospital, he was saying that he ended up building it from the ground up, and when what he really did was just add solar panels. And then we have his products. We're just gonna highlight the most recent product that he has because there's been a lot of questions of the launches of his previous products. He recently launched Lunchly with Logan Paul, and their claim in their PR announcement of this partnership is that they are a healthier version than Lunchables. And while their claim of being healthier than Lunchables is true, it's all about the nuance of the language. When people hear the language that it is healthier than Lunchables, the expectation is that it's actually a healthy alternative to Lunchables, not what it actually is, which is a slightly better step up in the whole entire processing of the foods, sugar intake, etc. So it's still on the same tier as Lunchables, but slightly better, not an actual whole healthier alternative while still being marketed to children. And that is what he's under fire for with the launch of this Lunchly brand. So this becomes a cautionary tale of growing so fast that you're not putting in the structures and organizational goals to come in. And in fact, despite being a 250 employee company, making them a very large company, they still operate on the ethos of fast-paced startup level, which meant growing, making half-considered choices, resulting in big scandal one after another, because they finally grown so big to now they're being held responsible at the size of other big brands. So the question is, will the Mr. Beast brand survive? Currently, it's still growing up to 318 million. Yes, they still have more viewers. The brand perception, though, may be up for changing, considering that he was a nice guy giving away all the time, but given all of the things that have been happening, he might not be that anymore. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Well, my fellow humans, this ends the story time of the downfalls, cautionary horror tales in the business graveyard. If you guys want another video like this of the business graveyard or those who are on their last dying breath, comment down below. Tell me who you want me to review as a brand that may end up in the business graveyard. Also, like and subscribe if you like more content like this. Remember, impact happens once drop at a time. Be kind to your human selves, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.